During the 5 years' life of exile in snowy Ichigo, Shinran Shonen allowed his hair and beard to grow freely. So he adopted for his last name the title Gutoku, a simple-hearted, bald-headed man. But he never ceased to thank Maeda for his mercy, the joy and gratitude which he shared with the people coming in touch with him. In the first year of Kenryaku, A.D. 1121, on the 27th day of November, he was pardoned. However, as he had heard the news of the teacher's passing into the Pure Land, he did not go back to the capital, but became a wandering priest in order to spread the teaching of the Nembutsu. Now he pillowed his head on a stone in a night of heavy snowfall. Now he passed a night of heavy raining under the eaves of a house of a cold-hearted man. Thus he underwent hardships beyond descriptions. From Ichigo, Shinran Shonen moved his abode to Hitachi, where he settled in the village of Inada. The prospect of the mountains from the window of his dwelling was, to his wonder, the very scene of the mountains revealed distinctly in his vision of the Bodhisattva of Avalokiteshvara at the Rokaku Temple years before. Furthermore, like the immense number of people on the mountain in the vision, devotees knocked day by day at his rustic gate, begging him to allow them to listen to his teaching. In this cottage he himself wrote the Kyogayo Shinsho, the doctrine, practice, faith, and attainment, in which are laid down the fundamental principles of the Shin sect. By this declaration of his faith, his name has been handed down to the latter day of the law. This was on the 15th day of the first month of the first year of Genin, when he was at the age of 52. At that time, there was a chief of Yamabushi called Bennen. As the teaching of Shinran Shonen was diffused among the people, they began to ignore Bennen's prayers. This caused him to bear a grudge against Shinran, whom he tried to kill at any cost. Now he laid in wait for him on a pass of Mount Itachiki, and again he prayed to a god for his death. All in vain. At last, out of all patience, he, hard-featured and terrible as a devil of the underworld, burst into the Shonen's cottage. As soon as Bennen, however, saw the pupils of the Shonen's eyes irradiated by the grace of the Tathagata, and heard his voice accompanied by divine music, Bennen's former mind and features vanished at once, and overcome by repentance, he became one of the disciples of the Shonen. It was one night in the autumn of the first year of Bunraku, A.D. 1234. On the way back to the capital after 30 years of absence, the Shonen was laboring up Mount Hakone. Toward dawn, when he reached the shore of Lake Ashi, a noble and old Shinto priest, bathed in the moonlight, came to meet him and respectfully said to him, "The god of the shrine spoke to me in a vision that a visitor whom he reveres was just coming up this way and instructed me to serve you with reverence. How could you then be an ordinary person?" So he treated the Shonen most worshipfully, both in heart and body. Changed indeed was the state of affairs in the capital. Only the graceful mountains and gentle rivers remained the same. He had no definite place to live in, moving from one place to another as he pleased. In those days there was a man called Haitaro in the province of Hitachi. Haitaro, on the way to the Kamano shrine, in attendance on his lord to shut himself up in the shrine to pray the whole night, stayed at Kyoto and paid a visit to the Shonen, by whom his doubts as to the path to the Pure Land were cleared up. Arriving at Kumano, Haitaro shut himself up and was thinking gratefully of what the Shonen had said to him, when a drowsy feeling crept over him. Opening the doors of the sanctuary, a godlike personage appeared before him in his dream, and spoke reproachfully to him. Why do you hold me in disrespect?" All of a sudden Shinran Shonin appeared before the personage and said, "He is the one who is faithful in the Nembutsu according to my instruction." Thereupon the personage, being awestruck, bowed respectfully and disappeared. Year after year, almost all of the friends of Shinran Shonin passed away. Gentle breezes blew in spring. Autumn rain drizzled plaintively. The tender Yahima, youngest daughter of the shonen, ill at ease about her old father, came to the capital to take care of him. Since then, in spite of the wrinkles of old age, he devoted himself incessantly to write religious books and good tidings to his fellow believers. Toward the latter part of midwinter, in the second year of Kocho, A.D. 1262, the shonen took to his bed because of a slight illness. After that, he constantly recited the name of Amida, dwelling on his profound gratitude to the Buddha. On the 28th of the same month, he passed serenely into the pure land of bliss in his 90th year with these words on his lips. "When you alone call on the blessed name, think you are accompanied by another. When you two call on the blessed name, think there are three altogether. I, Shinran, am always among you." Next morning, his remains were solemnly cremated in the southern part of Toribano, in the capital, by his fellow believers, who bitterly mourned and lamented his departure from their midst. It was, indeed, Shinran Shonin whom his fellow believers loved and respected more than their parents. Making nothing of a journey 700 miles long in defiance of the heavy snow that fell, many of them came to the capital from distant Kanto and remote Hokuetsu to take the last farewell of all. Aye, they even came to the grave of the shonen. Soon after, a new mausoleum was erected by them at a site at the foot of Higashiyama and north of Yoshimitsu. Within it, his sacred ashes and image were deposited, and the priestess Kakushini became the warden of it. In tears, the winter passed, and a new spring came. In the precincts of the mausoleum, the cherry trees began to bloom as graciously as that lonely cherry tree in the garden of the Shorin monastery, which had been shedding its petals in the evening when the beautiful locks of the shonen, then Matsuwaka Maro, were shaven off. Indeed, the glorious flowers are the embodiment both of the sincerity of the souls lamenting earthly parting and of the faith of the souls delighted to be able to meet again in the eternal pure land. The cherry blossoms, according to the law of nature, blossomed and fell each year as spring came and went, again and again. Thus 700 years have passed. And from this mausoleum as the center, the teaching of the shonen spread all over Nippon, the land of cherry blossoms in the Far East, where all the people came to praise the perfect virtues of Shinran Shonen.